Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday, August 22nd at 9:06 a.m. We are here for continued negotiations with the fire department. Fire union. I said yesterday we would have a response to your paper dates, so I have one that you can read. So it's an improvement over yesterday's handouts. And then I'll walk through what our suggestion is. So like you said, it's weird because we're now having multiple titles in multiple scales that no longer exist. So we just started with prior to 25, which is the start of this contract, members who held the position of paramedic were able to go through the promotional process and accept the position of driver operator, now called an engineer. Jared said I had a run-on sentence, so I have since corrected that.
Call me out.
This acceptance was only in title and considered a paper date. This administrative acceptance secured the member a promotional date for the rank of engineer. The member was then reverted back to a paramedic position. With the 25 reorganization of the ranks and implementation of the stipend, the former process of paper dates is no longer accepted. So we've closed that as a loophole going forward. Members who have a historical paper date will be allowed to promote into a vacant engineer position using the following conditions. When a vacancy in the engineer position becomes available, the position will first be offered to the firefighter with the oldest engineer's promotional date. Subsequent vacancies will be offered in the same manner until all members with engineer's promotional dates have accepted positions or declined promotion. The chief did check. We believe we have 7 people who hold a paper date. Okay. I have no idea,
Yeah,
so
no.
I'm going to defer to all of you on that.
Yeah, I thought we had 6, but.
A member who does not accept the position will vacate their promotional date. The promotional testing process for engineers will continue to be offered as defined in section C above to ensure a valid list remains in addition to the promotional paper date people. Once the paper date list is exhausted, all future promotions to engineer must be through the standard promotional process. I think we close every loophole and let employees know how their rights are protected. So I think we, between many versions, we got there. So I know you're going to want to read on that.
Yeah.
Now, I took our TA from yesterday and stuffed it into the CBA. And sorry, my copier is done with negotiations, so it actually looks like it's bruised. So I put this in as Article 18, so I pushed everything down after that. My office let me know I did it wrong, because they enjoy telling me that. So I copied everything over. It doesn't show in yellow because I'm sick of reading in yellow. There is a line I missed in each. For organ and bone marrow and bereavement, it processes like sick leave does. So it's exempt from FLSA overtime. So I just added those 2 yellow lines, but I wanted you to see what article I put this in the CBA under. So then the previous Article 18 pushed to 19. It kind of made sense right in there rather than just stuffing it at the end, which didn't make any sense. So if you guys want to take a look at that at our next caucus and let me know if that's okay.
Yep.
And then
Heather, just real quick, you probably said it, but was this in the promotional section?
I put it under the, I think it's under the promotional, but let me look. Paper.
That's where they had proposed it as section K, I think.
Yep, so it went right under what we adjusted for the training and the day civilian position. So yeah,
Okay.
so it just went right under F. I inserted it.
Okay, cool.
It's the semi-logical place.
And then, so just for a point of clarification on the one, on the miscellaneous benefits, you have the highlighted section there, organ and bone marrow donation, leave is not considered time worked for the purpose of
FLSA
determining-
overtime.
Okay, so it would be, can you explain that?
So, Chief will.
It counts the same way as sick leave, so it would affect your hours towards your threshold and could affect your premium hours depending on which pay period it's taken in.
Okay.
Because it's similar to sick leave that it doesn't count as hours worked, unlike vacation and comp time off.
So on your pay stub, would it be a separate, like, leave?
Well, you're going to enjoy this because
Time.
we've never used organ and bone marrow donation, so I don't know what that looks like on a timesheet. Bereavement does show up as a secondary code. It's different than what you guys see because you're using an old code we didn't even know was still active. But once the new system, my understanding is you'll have to log into the portal. You won't get the email. I think that's what they've decided. So I don't know what those new pay stubs look like.
So if you were, I mean, this is just,
You'll see it as a
probably-
code. You'll see it as a different leave.
okay.
It won't show
And
under sick
will it
leave.
show a bank there if you use this, or is it just,
I'm not sure yet because we've never utilized it, so I'm not sure how it actually works once
but
we
like
use it.
Bereavement?
Bereavement, it shows
show?
and then it gets removed as a bank once the time frame or your hours have passed.
Okay, so you're gonna be, you'll be
Holly
given a
manually
number.
adds and removes those.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, Holly gets to track that. Then Sam? I was over here yesterday.
Does that make sense?
Okay, I listened to his question, and he's right, we did talk about it ad nauseum, how you move between stipends and no stipends, so. I put language in so everyone knows.
Okay.
Jared, I'm gonna find it, so I'm gonna let you walk.
That's fine. I'm on the end. I got it.
It's his contribution today.
Thank you.
And I realized we completely left out the fire prevention piece of, it's only on duty, not all the time, but it's included in promotion language, so I added that. Stipend. So this one under base pay, I put it in as new items under the paramedic stipend language we talked about yesterday. The first one is what happens when you get the certification. You move from a captain F7 step 7 to a captain with paramedic F8 step 7. Your step maintains up and down as you gain and lose that certification. And then we added the fire prevention captain with paramedic. Paramedic. Not eligible for the pay on a daily basis. They will log time in the position only for time working in a line capacity. However, stipend, I don't like that word. The 5% is included in promotional calculations. Because we had talked about that. If someone became the fire prevention captain and they had the paramedic, is it included in their promotion to BC or not? So that solidifies that. And I feel like all of the discussions might now be documented in the CBA, though I'm sure we've missed a few.
So for those people that aren't currently holding the appointment as paramedic, but have their certification,
With the new fiscal year, we will load them
they'll be
with
placed at their respected step without the stipend and then given the stipend.
Yeah, and for the new contract implementation, they will just be placed with the stipend. So they'll be placed and then, yeah, we build it without the stipend, but then they
And then
move
they
to the
move down
stipend
to the
step.
stipend. Okay.
Yeah, it's slightly awkward for
little
the
bit.
implementation versus someone who's new.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, we took this year's, created them as a captain, and then we moved them to the captain. But they'll never show as a captain in the system. They'll show as the captain with stipend.
Okay.
But on paper, that's how it existed.
Okay.
So I'll let you guys review those, but I think that cleans up part of our hiccups that we've been trying to iron out.
You want us to take a little bit of time and check them out right now?
Yeah, if you
Get
don't
out of the way?
mind, so we
Okay.
can kind of keep some forward progress.
Sounds good. We'll be back.
We'll be here. Doesn't take too long, then we'll be in our offices. Morning, and we're back. It's exactly 10 o'clock.
All right. Did you want some clarification on?
Nope.
You good with that?
Yep.
So the 3 changes that you gave us this morning, we're good with those?
Do we want a TA on those so we can get them in officially?
Sure.
Yeah, you wanna address the list, huh?
One thing that we did clarify is that there was a mistake in the driver paper date list. Kendall Dean does not have a paper date.
That was just presented for information.
Yeah.
So
We just
we'll look into that.
We just
but-
double checked. I called Kendall and called Christy, so she said, oh yeah, it looks like there was a mistake.
Okay.
Jared brought my lucky pen. That means I didn't bring one.
You don't have to.
All right, I believe the last thing we have on the table is the item none of us want to deal with, and that is job descriptions.
We'll get through it.
We will get through it. We will grudgingly get through it. So yesterday, we agreed on the stipend language. I have firefighter up so it doesn't show the ARF, and then we agreed on the physical requirements. So I've highlighted those as successes. Here is the current job description from 2000. So how would you guys like to proceed? I thought we'd just kind of start at the top and go down.
So we have the one that we gave you with some of our changes in it. I tried to go back through it. I didn't do a very good job of omitting the changes we made to the stuff that we agreed on yesterday.
It's okay.
We would like to use this.
Can you send it to me electronically?
Yeah. I can.
Unless you want to plug in and drive the screen.
I can just send it over to you real quick. Maybe I'll have to plug it in on my computer. It's not liking me trying to send it.
Wi-Fi.
No, it says I got Wi-Fi, but it's saying that it's in committee review, so it won't let me.
maybe I gotta close out of here. Okay.
There we go. Okay. Coming at you. Says right here.
Two. Yeah, it's like.
So like I said, there were a couple of things that we agreed on that I didn't quite get deleted, so we can just skip over those sections or undelete them.
And I'll try to remember why we did some of the omissions we did or some of the adds we did and try to explain some of them if you have questions on them. A lot of the impetus of some of the changes were to simplify stuff. There were a lot of redundancies in some spots. And there was examples of things in there, for example, like what an EMT does. And so we felt like that's a kind of flexes depending on what's expected of an EMT or their level of certification or the optional modules they have. So these are just examples of things, why they got added or omitted in there. So we're just trying to simplify everything. And then the viewpoint that we took on job descriptions were, since they're going into the contract, we wanted to make sure that it was very descriptive of what we do. And so we didn't want to leave anything to interpretation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that line 27 or 28, some of that blue right there, I think that's some language that is struck right now that I think we agreed to yesterday. Is that correct?
Anything under the paramedic stipend is here. We didn't agree to anything beyond the stipend and the ARF and
I tried to go.
physical.
I tried to go back through them real
Okay.
quick and take some of that stuff that we had changed out, but I did not get all of it.
Geez, how many people do you have to go through this? That's why I got like 17 colors.
We had peer review submit it to us, and then we vetted it for accuracy.
Okay, so EMT is not a rank, so I would prefer it not be part of the title or spelled out as separate items in your body.
Oh.
Everywhere else, we call it a firefighter. The reason is when you have job descriptions that have slashes in there, I have to put it in the system, and the system hates that.
I think we'd be good with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, just looking at some high level stuff, and then you refer later on, like EMTs are listed like they're a rank or a person. It's a function of a firefighter, right? Any firefighting position. So I don't think it needs to be spelled out separately. EMT duties can be included because it is part of the function, but it shouldn't be its own entity.
Okay.
Jordan, you deleted this sentence, this right here. So the reason we use examples for what some of your function looks like is, again, because this has to be readable to somebody who is not functioning in the position. That includes a medical provider who is not your guys' doctor, would be a workers' comp doctor, or would be a situation where going through ADA and their personal physician is attending. So that's why there's examples of what's, not examples, more description about what some of this function looks like. Also, it allows people who are applying into the position to, who don't have any experience, understand some of the function, not all of the function, obviously. But that's why there's more detail and things that come out of HR, is because we're writing for everyone. You guys are writing for your body. And there's very different viewpoints of who has to understand those. Your body's going to understand this without any of the expanded information, but the audience is bigger than that.
So the higher, or the ranks that we promote into don't need as much explanation because they're incumbent and they,
Well, not necessarily for outside applicants, but from an ADA perspective and a workers' comp perspective and understanding what your job duties are, it's helpful to have explanation rather than trying to have an employee sit in front of a doctor who's, let's say, in a mental health break and needs an ADA accommodation. For rather than them try to list everything, the doctor's going to respond to what the job description is. That is the basis of how their accommodation is made. So if it says, works as a firefighter and there's no descriptions of hoses, ladders, equipment, the doctor is not going to understand whether or not the employee can do that job without some detail as to what the job looks like.
Otherwise, they would just be going off of what their kind of
What
like
the employee is
intuitive
trying to
knowledge.
convey. And that puts a lot of pressure on an employee,
Okay.
usually in a trauma type situation. It's hard. I'm just going to go ahead and hop to the section that none of us want to deal with.
Well, let me just, if I could ask a question here. This says assist at operations level, and it goes on for both technical rescue and hazardous materials. But we have some people in this rank that are technician level. And so wouldn't it just be better to say something like operates
Go right here,
Yeah.
respond to a variety
what
of
line are
hazardous
you
material.
looking at there? 42?
40?
40? And what was your recommendation to change?
To get rid of operations.
Yeah, just
level.
say basically operates in technical rescue and hazardous materials, and people obviously are expected to operate at their level of training or certification.
Yeah. I can understand, yeah. That makes sense.
This seems somewhat limiting because we do have some
Some text.
technicians. and-
Right.
I'm not even going to try to mark things right now. I just want to talk through it and then we can start editing. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. I'm just going to scroll right on down here. All right. Oh, got even more colorful.
Now it gets your color.
Whew. We have address education in the current one.
I don't think so.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, wait.
Up there.
I think it is. It would probably be in a lower level. Okay, so high school diploma. Hold on, I'm gonna make it really hard for everyone but me to read.
So I didn't see what you did there. The one on the right is which one?
This is yours,
Okay,
this is mine,
okay.
this is the old one. But don't even try to read it, because I think a typewriter wrote it. I'm going to defer to you in this section.
I mean, they look pretty close. I would point out, I'm not certain on the NFPA firefighter one because it's IFSTA
Yeah,
that is the
that's just what I was thinking
certification.
too.
And I'm not sure if they were trying to reference, I think it's NFPA 1001 that is firefighter.
That might be, and we can change that to
And so I
IFSAC,
think
that's
They
what we
may have
do.
been trying to reference IFSTA,
Yeah.
but we should probably,
Is it IFSTA or IFSAC?
IFSAC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can change that to IFSAC.
Would it be easier just to say firefighter one? Do we need the IFSAC in there?
I guess if we
We
could
ever
put
change-
firefighter one, and that way if the state changes to pro board certification or
Yeah.
it wouldn't be limiting.
And you would all know what firefighter one means?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me keep going.
I'm just an audience at this point because you guys are rolling off acronyms I couldn't even begin to define. Come on, yeah, I know. Jack wrote it, I don't care. I haven't brought my mouse and it still doesn't like me. Same thing here.
Blacked it right out.
I don't want to edit because then I don't want to overwrite his changes.
Is that the same with second year?
Yeah, there's another state certification you have to get done, if that's what
Is
you're
it?
asking.
Is it the NFPA or are we just putting firefighter too?
Just firefighter too.
I'm asking.
If I delete it, if it'll show it. No, it won't show I deleted it.
Is the hazmat one applicable as well? NFPA hazmat awareness and operation.
Yeah.
That's down.
Yeah, I don't know if it's NFPA that is the curriculum for the hazmat awareness and operations, so.
Yeah, so we can just change.
Change NFPA,
Change
just-
NFPA out of that one also.
Makes like they're two different hazmat.
Yeah, there's a
There's a
couple
FEMA
different,
and
yeah.
So help me understand the current and valid driver's license while on duty versus must maintain a current and valid driver's license.
Well, we kept it in there because it was from the past job description. And obviously, we just had a grievance about it and potential arbitration. We felt like keeping it in there was a protection for the employee because the viewpoint was that while off duty, the employer doesn't necessarily have any purview. And so we wanted it as a protection to the employee.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
What does while on duty mean?
When you show up for work and between that time and the time you leave, while you're on duty.
So what happens in a shift trade situation where you're getting a paycheck that says you've been on duty? Does that count as while on duty?
In a shift trade,
So if I traded shifts with you and I show that I worked and I don't have a license, was I on duty or not?
You're still being paid by the city and
I don't necessarily have an answer for that right now.
I don't know how to define while on duty.
Yeah.
I think it would be, right?
And I mean, I'm trying to have a dialogue. If you guys want to caucus and talk about it and come back, trust me, I get it. None
Yeah.
of us want to deal with this bullet point, but we all knew we had to.
Yeah.
And I also, just in the interest of kind of having this discussion, there is some disparity between the job descriptions throughout the entire employee pool. Some employees have, their job description says must maintain a valid driver's license, period. One says must maintain a valid driver's license and have it with them while on duty. And then some say must maintain a valid driver's license while on duty. And so it makes it difficult from us, let's just talk about potential discipline. You mentioned the previous grievance. It's hard to equitably treat driver's licenses from a disciplinary standpoint when it appears in 2 or 3 different versions throughout the employee pool. And that's not just many of the office staff. Most of their positions say must maintain a current and valid Idaho driver's license. Some line personnel, it says that, must maintain a driver's license, specifically in the battalion chief's job description. And so I just worry that without clarity on this, we could, in the future, have another situation where we're not agreeing on what this means and what, so. I mean, the EMT, I look at that in a similar vein, that doesn't just say must maintain an EMT license while on duty. And that's kind of like you either have an EMT license or you don't. And I view driver's license in the same vein. And so I just kind of want some clarity over how we're treating these licensures.
I guess we talked about this in depth as well. So I would ask the question, does any of this document apply to someone off duty? Could I be disciplined for not, if my EMT license lapsed for a day and I said, hey, I'll have it done before I get back, and I showed up to work and I have my EMT license, would I be disciplined for that?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
So this is just an example, right?
Yeah,
This is something
I
we
want to
talked
make sure
about.
I'm processing.
And so
right.
when we had our discussion, we said, well, is anything in this document applicable to us while we're off duty? Is there any purview? Does this have any purview to our personal lives? And so one of the examples that was brought up is, let's say my EMT license lapsed. You guys knew about it. I said, hey, before I come back, it'll be done. I'll have it.
So you're on vacation, you're
Yep.
off shift,
Yep.
you're not on duty.
Correct. And by the time I showed back up, I'd have my EMT license. Is there disciplinary processes that would happen? Because I did actually, in fact, not maintain my EMT license while I wasn't on duty.
But I think we're back to, I also need you to clarify for me what on duty means in regards to shift trades, that sort of thing. Not on shift because you're not scheduled is different than a shift trade.
Yeah. And
Any
that,
time that you'd be expected to perform
yeah.
job duties.
I would say if, let's say your license lapses on Friday and you're back on shift Wednesday, as long as you come back on Wednesday, then that weekend day, they would not be subject to you. But when you are on a shift trade, you show that you're on duty. You show up to a meeting, you're on duty. I would say if you are in a work capacity and you are getting paid, then that would be considered while on duty. So no, but if you showed up to work and you didn't have it, but you said, I'm going to have it later in the week, you would be subject to discipline, in my opinion. But I would defer to the chief on that.
I think we've had instances where people have done what the example that you illustrate. Their certification lapsed. They either through accruals or, I don't remember specific instances, there may have been a trade involved, did not come to work, and they did not receive discipline. I think, from my standpoint, we could look at this, and I think there could be discipline. Not to say that it would be severe, but, we certainly want to balance the severity of the offense or the loss of licensure and the duration with the amount of discipline. And so it's hard to, I think everybody just maybe they think, if I accidentally let my EMT license expire on March 31st, I didn't get my continuing hours in or my documentation, am I going to be terminated on April 1st? I think the answer to that is no. We value employees, but I think the circumstances and the previous history. You know, if this is an ongoing problem of not renewing an EMT license, then maybe if you've been disciplined before for it, then maybe that escalates whatever potential discipline would be. And also, you know, what's the reason for losing the EMT license? Is it because the individual is no longer capable of holding an EMT license for a certain period of time? Or did they just simply forget to renew it, or it got lost in the mail, or some other glitch? There are lots of, you know, there are reasons why people would maybe not be able to renew their EMT license. And I think some of those reasons could subject a member to discipline. But certainly, we're not looking to discipline somebody because it simply lapsed and they didn't get their record updated, and it's something that's going to be mitigated within a week or two. But a member that wasn't able to renew their EMT license because they maybe had a criminal proceeding or something else under the Idaho Administrative Code that precludes them from holding an EMT license, then certainly that would subject a member to discipline.
But you agree though that they are in violation of the contract when they need to come back on duty, whether that be a trade or their regular time.
I also think that we can mandate an employee to come to work, to participate in disciplinary proceedings, or, you know, if an employee's maybe on restricted duty and can't work trades or anything, I think that we can say you need to report to work.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is, if somebody has 2 weeks off, just for example, like Adam's example, and they lose their EMT license, they're not in violation until their on-duty time starts back up.
I guess it begs the question, if, again, back to the reason that they lost their licensure, and let's say the EMT. If I know that an employee has lost their EMT license because of a criminal charge, should I be required to make them come to work in order to discipline them? And at what point does that progression stop? Do I actually have to allow them to operate as an EMT? To, you know, at what level do we say, look, you have to have an EMT license, you don't have an EMT license, and so therefore we could consider discipline? And not just that we will, but it could be warranted. It seems a little weird to make somebody come to work just to cross the T so that I can then consider discipline.
Well, here's another example. What about the grooming standard? So in order to be on duty, you have to have a clean shaven face and a respectable haircut and a clean uniform and smell decent. But I'm off for 2 or 3 weeks and I grow a beard and I smell terrible, and you see me at the grocery store. You don't mandate that on my days off.
Correct.
Was that different than the EMT license? I'm not on duty. This is a job description, not a life description.
I agree, but the grooming standard's not part of the job description. That's part of a policy that applies to you while you're at work. So do you think, does somebody being off on a trade constitute being on duty?
I think that each one of these kind of has to be taken in their own regard, because you said, you know, somebody's EMT license could lapse. They took a trade, they figured it out, right?
Right.
By the train of thinking that you're working while you're on a trade, you're in violation, right? And so the reason that you want a driver's license is so you can operate a vehicle at work legally. So as far as trades go, on paper, you're working, but you're not operating a vehicle while at work. I think that's the reason that it's there. Unless I'm missing something. Am I wrong in that thinking?
I just want to make sure that you five all agree what while on duty means, so we can start from that point. So if you can truly define what while on duty means for us, so we can kind of move a little bit beyond the hypothetical, so I can understand what it means, that would be very helpful for our side.
Can we take a quick hallway?
Yeah.
break?
Do you want to go? You want me to do it?
Yeah.
You want to go? Yeah,
Go
you can
ahead.
do it.
Here, that's what I'm gonna do.
Go ahead.
We'd be willing to not pursue that language in there. That specific edition of while on duty.
However, one thing that I would like to have a discussion about is, it says must maintain a current valid Idaho driver's license.
Okay.
We have hired people from other states in the past that have continued to live there. I mean, if you live in Utah, you could just live, 90 miles away and still have a Utah driver's license and still come to work here. Is that a hard line?
Can I understand the first point first?
Sure, yeah.
So when you say I don't want to put words in your mouth, I'm sorry, but you said you would agree to not pursue the while on duty language.
Correct.
Does that mean that you're amenable to our proposal that says must maintain a current and valid, and I'll just say driver's license?
Yeah.
But you're questioning in your second point whether Idaho must be there.
Correct.
I have an attorney on my side, so I'm gonna take a caucus and ask him if it's something that I have to have.
Yeah, it'll be really quick. Let's,
Want us to step out?
yeah, let us, if you don't mind,
Yeah, we'll
we can
step out.
discuss that really quick.
Yeah, no problem.
Seven. So we are good dropping the Idaho requirement as long as the while on duty goes away.
Okay,
Now, I have been bebopping through this because you guys are talking about a lot of stuff I don't understand. So I went to the stuff I do understand. So I can tell you what I've accepted or not. Do we really need this? Does it really need to be for 300 people at 300 pounds? Are we there? Is that where we're at as a society? I mean, I'm looking to you because I don't know. Because that's a big difference in number.
did we put 300 in there?
There's 300 in there.
Yeah.
That was Jack Mitchell.
I think
Clearly, he's had to respond to a 300-pound person. I want to be really, I want to make sure it's right, because this was not easy for us to all get through this, so I'm okay with 3 if you're okay with 3.
Yeah, you start adding.
Well,
I mean, a lot of
gear and
us,
stuff.
a lot of us and all of our gear are probably close to that.
Okay.
Is the question though, on your own, by yourself, is that the job requirement that we're looking at is,
Occasionally, yeah, it would occasionally.
because that's
A lot of
a
persons.
lot. I mean,
Dragging maybe, carrying with all the gear you guys carry, that's a lot.
the
Is
NFPA.
it 3?
So where they took a lot of this language is out of the NFPA standard. And in this particular point here, it references, this is NFPA 1582, Chapter 5, Essential Job Tasks. And this is 5.1.1 subsection 6. While wearing personal protective ensembles and SCBA, searching, finding, and rescue dragging or carrying victims ranging from newborns to adults weighing over 200 pounds
Yeah, I think over.
to safely,
Overcomers it.
despite hazardous conditions, to safety despite hazardous conditions and low visibility.
I think the over 200 pounds encompasses
Okay.
everything
I just-
on the upper spectrum.
Because there's a big difference in 100 pounds when you're already wearing full gear. I just really wanted to check on that one.
And that's right, that language as it is right now is right out of the NFPA standard.
So we can put that back to 200.
So I accepted all of these changes and dropped this just to say firefighter 1 and 2. I dropped off the requirement of what defines the hazmat awareness and operation certification. Now, do we want to say by the end of the year 1 or by the end of their probationary period? Technically, they're about the same thing unless you extend someone's. And I don't know, so I have to look to you
I
guys
think
on
by
that.
the end of year 1 is pretty much synonymous with
Yeah,
probationary year.
I think the hazmat operations is required for the firefighter
Yeah,
1.
yeah.
And this
It's in
is
your first year
duplicated here,
test.
right? Is that what this is too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I entered, so it was all on one page. Okay, are you serious?
Yeah,
Okay. It didn't make it into this version,
yeah.
but they have, okay.
Do you need me to write it down what it is?
You want
Fine with all
to caucus
these.
into it? Do you want to tell them we still have that, we have a sentence
We
to
can do
add?
that, yeah.
Because I'd rather,
Get it written down and then bring it back. Yeah, that's fine.
I don't know what I did here. I don't think we need to specify to the level of support care if we don't want advanced. I think we could take basic and advanced off and just take it off.
I would just read provides in-field life support care.
Then it just depended on their level of expertise and experience, right?
Yeah,
Because that dictates their scope and their,
yeah.
Which right here, it takes it.
before I forget, this, you're gonna get to this, for some reason in this version that you have, it didn't have there was an addition to the disclaimer that we wanted in there.
Oh, no, I deleted that because that's a debate for us. So I'm accepting things I'll take and then we'll have to fight over what
Okay.
has been deleted. Because it's not letting me track I have to accept your changes for me then to track them. It won't overwrite.
Okay.
I'm trying to get one whole page clean, so I started at the top because there's a big chunk of that that's not really problematic. I would like this pink language to stay in so we have a kind of a explanation of what field life support care could include. I'm fine with the stuff in green.
this one, we're just illustrating a little bit.
this little, right here, Jordan, is because we are using examples and may vary by assignment, refers back to the expertise of the individual performing the duties. Rather than trying to specify their levels of knowledge, that's what it says, may vary by assignment.
Can you say that? I'm sorry, can you say that one more time? Why?
So that, the stuff in the parentheses, that goes in all of our job descriptions because people's knowledge base are different based on their position, just their background and time in. So we put that in because it's not all encompassing. Something new might happen, monkeypox pops up, that's something new you might be dealing with in the field. While you deal with infectious disease, it might have new situations, and there's no way to update job descriptions to everything you encounter in the field. That's why it says illustrative only. I don't think we've ever responded to a plane crash in Pocatello, but you guys would.
We have.
And it, in Pocatello or at the airport?
It's in Pocatello.
No,
I
no,
responded to one off the airport.
that's not in the city. It's on a runway. Now I gotta know when that happened. It's just, so it's an example. These things are, and I know this is the difference between union and not union, so I'm trying to make sure I toe the line right. There is no way to define everything that you guys do with the scope of knowledge and the situational responses you encounter. That's why it says illustrative only and may vary by assignment. The may vary by assignment is based on the employee, and the illustrative only means weird shit happens.
Is there a different way we could word that?
If you want to try to wordsmith something, I am happy to look at it.
Yeah, it got omitted on our side because this is going into our contract, we're agreeing to language and wanted to make sure we knew what we were agreeing to.
I understand.
Yeah.
And you're understanding that there's no way for me to write in a job description everything you do, period. Like, it's
Would other
impossible.
duties as assigned be acceptable?
Probably not.
No. No. They had that in there as closely assigned, and I didn't like that either, so. We're gonna ignore that one then. But that
We'll
is
talk about
part
that.
of what this
Yeah.
is.
But I kind of understand where you're coming from, and there might be a way to,
I don't want to get into
After
a
that.
situation where it's like, go pick up the Christmas ornament that dropped off a tree, and the response is, it's not my job to pick up ornaments, just pick up the ornament.
Well, and remember, this is a job description in the contract, but it still stands alone in a way as a job description, which has its own type of interpretation, its own application to what you're doing. And so even though it's part of the contract, it's not, it would be really hard for somebody to just simply rely on this from either perspective as their basis for an interpretation issue, a grievance, whatever it might be, because it still acts as a job description, and that has its own industry standard, like illustrative only, and maybe vary by assignment. So that's something to keep in mind. It's in there, but it's still a job description. Does that help? Does that make sense?
I'm gonna scroll for something, I'm trying to remember where it is, but I'm not skipping. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to caucus because we're like within an hour of kind of a lunchtime, and if we caucus now, then we're gonna have to take lunchtime. I'm trying to get some more done. Are you okay with these?
Yeah.
Take out the extra including.
You're gonna, oh, including. Can you guys service all equipment at scenes?
no.
Okay. Okay, please. You respond to alarms too, though, that aren't fires, right?
Yep.
Would that be better to read incidents maybe, or?
Sure,
Yeah,
yeah. It was just very specific to say we respond to fire alarms because it's
Right.
There's so much that we respond to.
Right.
It was too
It might,
specific.
yeah, read better response to fire incidents.
Or just incidents.
Yeah.
I love doing things by committee. Okay, I have a question about line 43. Do you guys not help with incident scene evaluations and custody?
Let me read this real quick.
I don't know what line it is on yours.
Yeah, it's changed now. so-
It's changed now.
Okay, so that's under which heading?
Communicates with required internal and external personnel.
Which line is it on ours now?
Looks like Jordan peer reviewed this one.
Can I jump in? So I understand the sentence reads kind of weird, fire investigator / marshal for incident scene evaluation. But I think that, and we are in the firefighter job description, I think there still is some component of scene evaluation and preservation of evidence, even, participating in interviews with the fire investigators about what they saw, preserving evidence during the suppression effort. All those are part of that IFSAC firefighter 1. And so it seems like that language, is still applicable.
Do you remember why they marked that out?
It needs reworded.
Yeah, I think we should just,
I can't remember why that one was,
So what if it said just assists with scene evaluation while following the chain of custody and evidence protection protocols?
yeah.
Say it again, Jordan.
Assists with scene evaluation while following.
yeah, that's fine. Right?
Yeah.
That's,
Do the technical rescue and the hazardous.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if we have that multiple places or if it's just
I
one.
think it was, the hazardous was in 2. But
Okay, so here,
we just changed that instead of assist with technical rescue. You guys respond to, you're not just there to, you're the ones doing the rescue, so.
we did the same thing on the hazardous materials. It said assists with, we said respond to.
Should be responds, so that it's all clear.
Okay, it's over here.
Was this stricken as 34, 35, 36 just because it was contained somewhere else?
I think that, yeah, that was a redundancy. And then I think 45 and 46 were also a
Yeah, I
redundancy.
think so. I remember.
I'm just
seeing-
making sure we have the same language, so I'm not deleting it yet, but I have that one tagged to delete.
Okay,
I adjusted this just to say with other personnel rather than defining positions. This personnel takes up a lot less space than all of our titles.
I'd like to talk about 49 through 52.
Yeah.
49 through 52. Is that in the current job description? Or,
I don't think so.
okay. Wouldn't you want this in there, or do you not need to say maintains health and mandated wellness because of the other requirements, or?
yeah, we have other requirements that are guidance for participating in the wellness program, how we participate in it.
And this is more for applicants. So that they don't have to reference materials that are not in the job description to understand what the standards are.
And as I understand it, a mandate to participate in a critical incident stress debrief is against what you know, the debriefs are. So putting something in there that you will participate in these is kind of adverse to this recommended, how you participate in them.
I would
It's
be,
optional.
I mean, I'm fine with changing the words, but I'd like to keep the mini paragraph.
The mini paragraph.
It's mini, it's only like 3 sentences long.
And it also says that, like, in the required trainings annually, you have to have the physical fitness work performance evaluation test and the enhanced EAP. And so we kind of just thought that it might be
Yeah, it was,
duplicated
So there,
in expectations.
there usually is some duplication in job descriptions. It's, I know you guys don't like to hear that, but there usually is some duplication in multiple areas. I'm just trying to talk through this one. I mean, if your issue is the word is mandated, if that's the only issue, then we can change that. If your issue is the whole paragraph, I guess that's what I'm trying to figure it out. Because, you know, like when you think of a firefighter, that's like someone saying, I want to be a cop because I watched, you know, Super Troopers. I mean, there's people's perceptions of what a job is. No. But they're not always the reality of what the job is. So that's why we try to, you know, this is life-threatening, it's hazardous. You're going to be physically and mentally and emotionally exhausted. That's why we put those things in there.
I think the first sentence and the whole thing was just, it seemed redundant because it's in other sections, like I said before, and then it's inaccurate.
Because of that sentence.
Yeah, there is no mandated critical incident stress debrief, which is, like I said, adverse to what they're recommended.
Well, so the only thing that's adverse is there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we do mandate participation in fitness, EAP attendance. And so I think if you're reading this, maybe just, you know, down at the bottom, even though we have physician 1582 physicals and
These.
physical work performance evaluation test, I don't know that that conveys the same thing as a fitness program and a wellness program. So maybe,
To me, it kind of seems like this paragraph is reflectant of what you should be maintaining on your own, or what you should be doing on your own.
But we pay for EAP, we give you
Right.
gym time.
Right.
You guys have a pure fitness instructor, that's not your own
But
time.
we also don't, our wellness activities, I don't think we necessarily have any mandated wellness activities. Correct me if I'm
could we
wrong.
assign you to go to a class on nutrition that we provide at work?
That's personal wellness, right?
I mean, you know, we do offer those classes at work and we expect you to attend them.
Do you mind if we caucus till about 12:30? So we can clean up our side and then we can respond back with a clean job description.
Okay,
I think we've hit some of the high level stuff that we knew we had to have face-to-face discussion on. If we come back with an edit, then we can kind of move from there rather. 'Cause some of this, I just need to double check what other areas it's in.
so in the disclaimer, was there something that you wanted to talk about there?
Yeah, what was omitted from, because I didn't think you got the version with that in it, so.
You did. There was a line after this that says all changes must be negotiated. Well, it's part of the CBA, so that's already defined in the CBA.
I don't think that was what was in there.
Hold on, I gotta open.
Yeah, well,
I
when we
gotta,
come back, we'll have
Okay.
the language for you.
okay. All right, so we're in caucus till 12:30. Does that work?
Yep.
We're back and it's 12:38 PM. So job descriptions are hard because it's like you said, you ran yours through a group of employees and you're trying to give me feedback on everyone's opinions because you obviously need to represent them all. Even from our side, what we're looking for job descriptions doesn't match between the three of us. So we have a suggestion. We have an actual proposal. And it is very simple. Certain provisions of the bargaining unit's job descriptions have been negotiated and are in Schedule E. These provisions are hereby incorporated into the job descriptions that are in the fire department standard operating guidelines. And
You
then
want me to give these to them?
on Schedule E, we have the license, the paramedic stipend, the ARF stipend, and then the physical/working requirements, and we've defined them by position. The rest of the job descriptions would continue to go through SOG as you do now, so that gives you, the department as a whole, the chance to respond to measures as your jobs change based on situations or new technology. And it's not constrained within a 4-year contract that would require a cumbersome MOU. These are the pieces that we need in the job descriptions legally, and we've already agreed to them, so we have just inserted them in Schedule E and defined them by which positions are applicable to them. And then we don't have to look at any more job descriptions.
So Schedule E, this is what it would look like.
And all of these sections would be immediately included in your current job descriptions as bargained.
October.
Okay. Do you guys have any questions about this?
Do we need to break out the positions included? Because all the positions listed are only firefighter with paramedic, engineer with paramedic. Am I missing something there?
Well, so like lines 2 through 4, for all bargaining unit members, they must maintain a current and valid driver's license. 5 through 15 is those applicable positions would be fire line staff with paramedic stipend.
And as far as the day staff job
They-
descriptions would remain in SOG?
Yeah, everyone's would remain in SOG. Just these requirements are bargained and would be put into your SOGs. So that way SOGs would remain the housing of your job descriptions and they continue to be edited as the department needs. I know it's a little bit off direction from where we started, but we think this is the most responsive way we can address and maintain you guys being able to adapt. You're probably gonna need a minute.
Yeah, we'll take a minute.
I just have a question about, so when we were originally doing job descriptions in-house, SOG, the way we've done it in the past, it kind of evolved into, no, we need to negotiate for them. And we're kind of moving back the other direction, and I'm not advocating one way or the other, but what was the thought behind the city stance that, no, we actually have to negotiate for them?
Because these items that we've already talked about and are kind of in agreement on are what we've been missing that are the problem.
This language is okay, I got it.
So these would be applicable to the positions listed. Those are the things the city needs in the job descriptions.
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back.
Any more questions?
I don't think so. And so everything we just talked about with the firefighter stuff, it's going to go back to SOG
The only
committee.
thing we're proposing is that these
Okay.
sections go.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it. I understand.
That these sections go in the contract, not necessarily the job description.
They are in the contract and they are in the job description through the contract, or
Yeah.
they can be adopted.
And it would just be this right here, we wouldn't have individual?
You would still have your job descriptions in SOG as you do now, but those would not be tied to the contract except for these sections.
Okay.
They would reference it.
Yeah. Okay.
We're back and it's 12:51.
We'll go ahead and TA this.
I believe this concludes everything on the table. The next steps are Jordan and I will sit down when he gets back from his conference. And we will go through the CBA to make sure we both understand all of the red lines. And then I will give him a red line and a clean one so you can actually read it. And then you can take it to your union and I will get it on the council meeting for the second meeting in September, which I believe is the day after your meeting.
These are cutting close.
Yeah, I know. We're just short of needing a special meeting, so. I'm very happy with the contract. It was a lot of work, though.
It was.
And I'm sorry you have to explain it.
We'll be all right.
I know. We'll do final placements for the new scale. We're trying to wait as close to the budget date as possible, but it'll probably pull in the next week, and then we'll work on those with the chief.
Okay,
All right?
sounds good.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Can you help you clean up here today, or? you guys-
Sure. Yeah, we gotta put tables and chairs back together, so.
Thank you.